everybody. Welcome to Lifehouse. My name is Ryan. I want to invite you to stand if you're here in the room and let's sing together. Sometimes on this journey, I get lost in my mistakes. What looks to me like weakness is a canvas for your strength. And my story isn't over, my story's just begun. Failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. Failure won't define me, 'cause that's what my Father does. Lay your burdens down. Here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. You're in the Father's house, yeah. Arrival's not the end game, the journey's where you are. You never wanted perfect, you just wanted my heart. And the story isn't over if the story isn't good. And failure's never final when the Father's in the room. I said, the failure's never final when the Father's in the room. Lay your burdens down. Here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. You're in the Father's house. Prodigals come home, helpless find hope. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Prison doors fling wide, the dead come to life. Love is on the move when the Father's in the room. Miracles take place, the sinner don't find faith. Blood is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Jericho walls are quaking, strongholds now are shaking. Blood is breaking through when the Father's in the room. I said now, blood is breaking through when the Father's in the room. Lay your burdens down. Here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. You're in the Father's house. Lay your burdens down. Here in the Father's house. Check your shame at the door, 'cause it ain't welcome anymore. Yeah. You're in the Father's house.
Well, good morning, everybody. You all can have a seat. My name is Matt. I'm the lead pastor here at Lifehouse, and it's so good to see all of you and all the faces I don't know or that you're new. We're just glad that you're with us. It's an exciting week coming up. Thanksgiving's coming up fast and furious. I was bragging that we have 27 people at our house for Thanksgiving dinner, and I thought that was a big deal. And then a couple people on stage are like, yeah, we have 35 or 55, and it's because you have 1,000 cousins. I don't know how that works in Van Wert, Ohio, but if you have that kind of up, we hope you enjoy it. Now, I may be able to trump a few of you because we have 20 people spending 2 nights at our house over Thanksgiving. And so if you need a place to stay, you could probably sneak in and I wouldn't even know you're at our house. So anyway, that's good. And something else to look forward to is next Saturday, 2 undefeated teams are going after the Big Ten title. How about that? Yeah. I mean, we won't vote on who we want to win because we know that's the Buckeyes. Anyway, so that's really good. Michigan fans, we love you too. So there's good things happening all over the place, including here. Our church is just piping hot. Great things are happening with students and kids and adults. And we wanted to make it easy on everybody that hangs around here that calls Lifehouse Church their home. And so a couple weeks ago, we launched an app, or relaunched an app that's amazing for our church. And many of you have downloaded it already. And if you're new, you still might want to know what's going on at Lifehouse. And you can download the app through the App Store. Easiest way to do that is take out your phone, turn the camera mode on, and point it towards the QR code in front of you. And a link will pop up that will take you to a place to download this amazing tool to know what's going on around our church and keep up with it. And because we think it's so helpful, we're going to give you a little incentive. If you go there today or the next week or so, there's a form you can fill out for a giveaway, and we're going to give away a $200 gift card at each service for groceries. Isn't that a cool thing? To which somebody on our stage, not Zach, but it was Zach that said that'll buy half a bag of groceries in this modern day age because they're expensive. But we just wanted to give you a reason to do that, and because we think it will help you and it will help us all together. But for today, we're going to be here for about an hour. And here's our goal, is that we would lean into what God has for us and his love for us. And maybe that's a brand new thought for you. But as this band just led us in this song, you're in a place where God wants you to be because he's in love with you. He cares about you. And you mean the world to him. And so we hope you feel that today. We're going to sing a couple songs, and then my man Ryan Holliday is going to give the message. So I'm super excited about that. And we'll get you out of here and on your way with the rest of the day. Let's stand and let's sing our next song together.
There's a grace when the heart is under fire. Another way when the walls are closing in. And when I look at the space between where I used to be and this reckoning, I know I will never be alone. There was another in the fire next to me. There was another in the walls, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding of how I've been set free, there is a cross that bears the burden, where another died for me. There is another in the fire. Left for dead beneath the walls. I'm no longer a slave to my sin anymore. And should I fall in the space between what remains of me and this reckoning, either way I won't bow to the things of this world. And I know I will never be alone. There is another in the fire, standing next to me. There is another in the water, holding back the seas. And should I ever need reminding what power set me free, there is a grave that holds nobody, and now the power lives in me. There is another in the fire. Oh, there is another in the fire. Oh, and I can see the light in the darkness as the darkness bows to him, and I can hear the roar in the heavens as the space between waves there, and I can hear the ground shake beneath us as the prison walls came in. Nothing stands between us. Nothing stands between us. There is no other name but the name that is Jesus. space between all the things unseen in this reckoning. I know I will never be alone. There'll be another in the fire, standing next to me. There'll be another in the water, holding back the sea. Should I ever need reminding how good you've been to me? Count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be. I count the joy from every battle, 'cause I know that's where you'll be.
In the darkness, we were waiting without hope, without light. Till from heaven you came running. There was mercy in your eyes to fulfill the law and prophets. To a virgin came the word, from a throne of endless glory to a cradle in the dirt. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three and one. God of glory, God is King. Praise forever to the to reveal the kingdom come, to reconcile the lost, to redeem the whole creation. You did not despise the cross, for even in your suffering, there's not to the other side. Knowing this was our salvation, Jesus for our Savior died. Praise the Father, praise the Son, praise the Spirit, three and one. God of glory, majesty, praise forever to the King of Kings. In the morning that you rose, all of heaven held its breath, till that stone was moved for good, for the Lamb had conquered death.
And the dead rose from their tombs,
and the angels stood in awe, where the souls of all who come to the Father are restored. And the church of Christ was born, and the Spirit gave the flame. Now this gospel truth of all shall not feel, shall not fade. By His blood, in His name, in His freedom.
Thank you all for singing with us. You can go ahead and take your seats.
It's a weird thing to sing to a God you can't always see clearly. And especially when you think about the words of that song we just sang, that we're giving praise or adoration or love or acknowledgement to God. And maybe that's a new thought for you. The reason we do that is because God gave us something. He gave us his son, who gave his life on a cross and rose from the dead to tell us and prove to us who he was, that he was the way, the truth, and the life. And we've just, for years around here, been trying to figure out how to follow Jesus and be like him and let him give us life. What encourages me to see all you here and those of you online is I know we're all looking for life today. And we really believe there's life in Jesus. And we love to pass that on to other people. In fact, we're still glowing a little bit from the whole For the Students thing we did a couple Saturdays ago, where we took a whole bunch of students that had some needs shopping. Well, one of our adult leaders said that the little gal that she was shopping with looked up at her at the end of the day and she just simply said, I don't want this day to end. And isn't it cool that when someone thinks of a church person, a Christian, a Jesus follower, like, I like being with you so much that I don't want this day to end. And we hope we can share that with our community for a lot of years to come, because we want the church to be known for that. That's why we do the things we do with generosity. You may notice in our lobby, we have those giving walls up for Christmas, and they represent families that just need some help at Christmas for the needs for their family, because they don't have enough to have a decent Christmas. And many of you are already excited about that. I saw you out there grabbing cards and fighting over them, and there's wrestling matches of who's gonna do the most. So that's such a cool thing, because we're learning to do this. In fact, and I don't have a lot of time, my daughter asked me yesterday on the phone, Dad, how come Lifehouse people, they're just so good at this? And I said, well, Meg, it's because for years we've been practicing this. It's like a muscle, because generosity is hard, but the more you flex it, the more you use it, the better you are at it. And I just want to thank you guys for being a super generous church. And the reason we can do all that for people in our community is because many of you have decided to be consistently generous to the church week in and week out here. And if you haven't decided to do that, or you're interested in doing that, I would encourage you to take a step in your generosity to the local church that many of you love, because it's making a difference. And again, the easiest way to do that is take out your phone, use the QR code in front of you. It'll take you to our website where you can give online. It's just super convenient, and it helps us do what we do in our community. Thanks for being an amazing church. Thank you for helping a little gal look at a Christian a couple Saturdays ago and say, I hope this day never ends. It's what we want to be known for around here, because Jesus loves us and he loves you.
I'm the strong one, I'm not nervous. I'm as tough as the crust of the earth is. I move mountains, I move churches, and I glow because I know what my worth is. I don't ask how hard the work is. Got a rough, indestructible surface. Diamonds and platinum, I find them, I flatten them. I take what I'm handed, I break what's demanded. But under the surface, I feel berserk as a tightrope walker in a 3-ring circus. Under the surface, was Hercules ever like, yo, I don't wanna fight Cerberus. Under the surface, I'm pretty sure I'm worthless if I can be of service. A floor crack, a straw in the stack that breaks the camel's back. Oh, it breaks the camel's back. It's pressure that'll trip, trip, trip like it'll never stop. Whoa. Pressure that'll tip, tip, tip till you just go pop. Whoa. Give it to your brother's older. Give him all the heavy things we can't shoulder. Who am I if I can't run with them both? If I fall to pressure like a grip, 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 and it won't let go. Whoa. Pressure like a tick, tick, tick till it's ready to blow. Whoa. Give it to your brother's stronger. See if he can hang on a little longer. Who am I if I can't carry it all? If I falter under the surface, I have my nerves in a worse since I worry something is gonna hurt us. Under the surface, the ship doesn't swerve as I heard how big the iceberg is. Under the surface, I think about my purpose. Can I somehow preserve this? line up the dominoes, a light wind blows, you try to top, tumble, living on it goes. But wait, if I could shake the crushing weight of expectations, would that free some room up for joy or relaxation or simple pleasure? Instead we measure this growing pressure. Keeps growing, keep going, 'cause all we know is pressure like a drip, drip, drip that'll never stop. Whoa, oh. Pressure that'll tip, tip, tip till you just go pop. Whoa, oh, oh. Give it to your brother, it doesn't hurt him. See if he can handle every family burden. Watch as he buckles and bends but never breaks. No mistakes, just pressure, break the grip, 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 and it won't let go. Whoa, oh, oh. Pressure like a tick, tick, tick till it's ready to blow. Whoa, oh, oh. Give it to your brother and never wonder if the same pressure would have pulled you under. Who am I if I don't have what it takes? No cracks, no breaks, no mistakes, no pressure. Anybody feel that? Anybody feel that? You feel the pressure that's maybe building inside under the surface? You feel like you're gonna buckle, feel like you're gonna bend and bend. You're not even present in the moment. You feel that? I feel it. I feel it. Now, I know that's a heavy way to start, so let me back out of that a minute. Are there any fans of the movie Encanto here? Anybody, any fans of the movie Encanto? Yes, some of you and some of the guys, just, it's okay. It's okay, you can raise your hand. Yeah, so there's this Disney movie Encanto, it's recent, we just saw it not too long ago. That song is called Surface Pressure, and that's a song from the movie Encanto. Side note there, I just found a Screamo version of that song on Spotify. It's awesome, you should check it out, you're welcome. Screamo's awesome. I'm not doing Screamo. But no, we just watched the movie, but the song is sung by one of the sisters in the movie who feels like she's got to carry all the family weight. She does everything, and she's holding it all in, and she's not okay on the inside, but on the outside, she's got to fake it, right? She's got to put a smile on and fake it. And the line in the song that I love is bend, don't break, because that actually goes right with the series that we're in. This is our message series called Bend, Don't Break. Matt started this series last week, you know, we know this, that we bend and we bend and we bend, and we get to the point where we're going to break. But you know this, we're not created to be in that place, right? We're not created to not have much peace in our life, not have much rest, where we never take time to really figure out what's going on inside. That's not what we're made for, because, again, if we bend and bend and bend, we're eventually gonna break, right? And what's in that state? It's this: a lot of surviving and not much thriving. A lot of surviving, not much thriving. And last week, Matt put some words around this feeling of what it's like when we feel like we're surviving but not thriving. He said we feel overwhelmed, right? Anybody relate to that? Yeah, heads nodding. We carry so much. We are overcommitted. We're doing so much. We're doing way too much, right? And then we're overexposed. Meaning, we're living in this digital age. We know this. Information is at our fingertips like never before. We're overexposed with information. Overwhelmed, overcommitted, and overexposed. That's not a good place to be, right? What happens? What's the problem with that? You know this, and I know this. There's a hidden cost to this. Like, it will catch up to us. It'll catch up to us and take its toll on our souls, on our minds, our bodies. And it's something that I like to call soul fatigue, right? And you probably know what this is, even if you never called it this before. It's this deep fatigue. They're like this deep fatigue. Something that, you know, more sleep can't really fix, although that kind of helps, but it can't really fix that. Vacations and time off, that can't really help it either. You know, completing those to-do lists that never get done, like, even if you got all those done, that's not gonna fix the soul fatigue. And when I feel this, when we're in this state, there is a lot of surviving and not much thriving. And there's something else that I experience in this as well. There's not much love, joy, or peace. And let's be real, like no matter where you're at in your faith, if you're just exploring or if you've called yourselves a Christian for a long time, like we all want to be people with more love, joy, and peace in our lives. But what happens when that stuff's not there? I'll go, I get impatient with my kids. I'm not as loving to my wife as I could be or should be. I'm not present to anything that's going on around me, to the people around me. And I think we all can end up there in some form or fashion. It looks different for all of us. But how do we get there? That's a good question, right? How do we get to the place of soul fatigue? There's one reason I think we get there, one thing that's, there are other things, but one thing in particular that's kind of a subtle enemy of our soul, where we survive but not thrive, and we bend, and eventually break. And it's this word, distraction. It's distraction, right? Distraction vies for our attention. They take us away from what matters most, from what's most important, right? In the Middle Ages, there was a torture technique. You knew I was going to go there, right? Middle Ages torture technique. Don't ask me how I found this, okay? But it's a true story. So they would take a prisoner and they'd put him in a field, okay? And they would tie a rope to all four of his limbs, okay? And then they would tie the other end of the rope to a horse, to four horses on all sides. And when somebody, blew the trumpet or something, the horses went all different directions. And I'll stop there. You can use your imagination from there, right? And what's really fascinating about that is what they called it. They called that torture technique distraction. They called it death by distraction. So distraction for us means being pulled in a number of different directions with an inability to keep it all together. I feel that. Feel that? And for us, it's less gruesome than the Middle Ages, but I would argue is just as detrimental to us as this propensity for us to be distracted, death by distraction for us. We all have potential for that. Another definition, maybe a little more practical and helpful, is this for distraction: that which pulls our attention away from what matters most. And attention's this thing, you may have heard people say time's our most precious commodity. And time's important. But I might say attention is our most precious commodity. Like time, attention's limited, right? We only have a certain amount. Like time, we get to choose where we use that. Here's the difference, and why I think it's more important than time, is that we can be giving our time somewhere, but not our attention. I could be talking to you right now and thinking about something else. I'm not, but I could be. And maybe you're sitting listening to me, you're in this place, like our heads and our rear ends are in this place, but our heads are somewhere else, right? Like that's for all of us, is attention. Attention's valuable because of what it leads to. Mary Oliver said this about attention: attention is the beginning of devotion. And in other words, she's saying where our attention goes leads to what things we are devoted to. And we know this, that what we're devoted to, what we really care about and value, it shapes who we are, right? It determines how much love, joy, and peace that we experience in our life and that we project to other people. And so here's a great question for us today, is this: when's the last time you audited your attention? When's the last time you audited your attention? Have you ever audited your attention, really took stock of where your attention's going? I wouldn't ask you guys to do something I haven't done myself. And I ask this question: where's my attention going? What does that say about what I'm devoted to? What are my priorities? Does it lead to more love, joy, and peace? And there are some things in my life where I feel like, yeah, I'm getting that right. I'm moving in the right direction. Got some things in order. And some other things it's like, well, I don't really know. Because when I took an audit of my own attention recently, here's one thing I discovered that I spend some time doing this. This is called the Immaculate Grid. This is the Immaculate Grid, okay? It's an online game. It's real similar to Wordle. I know Wordle, I don't even know if that's still a thing, but Wordle, it's similar to that, and you have a blank grid, and you try to match up baseball players that like played for the same team, and you fill out the grid, and you get a score based on how rare it was. It is so awesome. This is my best game ever, actually, so I decided to put that up. I'm not ashamed of that. I'm especially proud of Terry Francona there, who played for Cleveland and Washington. Anyway, nobody cares. So this is the Immaculate Grid, but and a new one comes out every day, and so every day it's like a new thing. So I have a couple friends that we will text our scores back and forth. How'd you do today? And this is one time my friend texted back and was like, dude, I've just been getting bad scores lately. I was like, why? Why are you getting bad scores? He said, work's really been getting in the way. I was like, oh boy, we got a problem. Woo, woo. No, this is not good, Another thing when I audit my attention is I will get on Twitter. Yes, Twitter's still a thing, but it's actually called X now. It's real weird. Elon Musk took it over, and I don't know, whatever. But you know what? I get on there and I scroll, and I think at least this isn't Facebook. That's what I tell myself. At least this isn't the cesspool of Facebook, which Twitter is just as big of a cesspool. But that's what I tell myself now that I've offended half the people in this room. But I ask myself, after I'm on Twitter for 20 minutes and I'm scrolling, like, do I leave there? How do I feel? Do I leave feeling like with a clearer mind and a clearer heart and more love, joy, and peace? And the answer is usually no. I usually feel crappier about myself after that. And I don't know if you can relate to that. And so is the grid bad? No. Is Twitter, whatever, bad? No. Is Facebook bad? Maybe. No, I'm kidding. I'm just kidding. Are these things bad things? No, they're good things. They're good things. But the problem isn't these things, it's where we give our attention to. It's how flippantly, I'll speak for myself, how flippantly I can just get on my phone and 20 minutes has gone by and what has happened? Nothing, how easily we give our attention away. Here's another question for us to ask is what am I distracted from that you could be devoted to? What are you distracted from that you could be devoted to? Now I could have said should, like what things should you be devoted to? And I think there are some things in our lives that we could use that word and say, I should be devoted to this. Like your family, that's a great one. I should be devoted to my family. But I will say I have a little aversion with the word should. It's just, my point today is not to take you on a guilt trip and say you should. That's not the goal today. And I've stepped away from some of that a little bit. But we say could because my goal for me and for you today is to take an honest assessment of where you're at. It's not to guilt trip you. It's for you to just say, how are things going in this area? Like, could my life be better? If I'm a Jesus follower, could I be more in tune with him, more in touch with Jesus through this? There are a lot of reasons why we're distracted, right? It's gonna be different for all of us, the things that distract us, take us away from the present moment. I chose 3 that I think are pretty common for most of us probably. The first one is pace of life, right? We all know what that means. It's when we are going so fast that we can't even catch our breath, that it's 9 p.m. and we finally sit down for the first time, and we finally take a breath for the first time in the day, and then we pass out. Right? Maybe for you're caring for other people. Maybe you're caring for a parent, which is a really good thing. Maybe you're caring for children, keeping small children alive. That's a really good thing too. And that takes a lot out of us. But maybe you're just serving others and neglecting yourself too. I love this quote. This quote says, this is Corrie ten Boom, said, if the devil can't make you sin, he'll make you busy. Because either way, your soul will shrivel. Now, I just got to say, I do not believe that the devil is the cause for everything bad that happens in our life, okay? Some people maybe think that, but like, the devil didn't make you eat that extra half gallon of ice cream at night. Like, he didn't do that. Like, you chose to do that, right? We have a part too. But that said, the point still stands, right? That what we call, this word that we call sin, that we say is doing something that God wouldn't want us to do, it's the same thing as being busy because it disconnects us from what it means to be human, right? Disconnects us from others, disconnects us from God, from our faith. When was the last time I took a step to breathe and acknowledge that God is here? Ooh. our soul can get tired. So that's pace of life. Another reason for distraction is technology. Now, please don't roll your eyes. I'm not going to ask us to go out in the parking lot after this and burn our phones together, okay? That might be fun, but we're not going to do that. But it's, hey, we have this technology. Like, let's assess, how are we doing with that? I heard this story, the Amish, they have this thing where when new technology is introduced, they wait and they see how the rest of the world handles it, right? Before they decide on what they're going to do with that technology. And I'm not saying that they're right or wrong in that, but what I really like about that is we're like their lab rats in some ways. I know I'm generalizing a little bit. We're like the lab rats. They're like, hey, here's these phones. Let's see how it's going for them before we decide what we're gonna do with it. And why are we so distracted, especially by technology? Right, it's this type of thing. This is my favorite Office meme, right? It's because we see this on the phone. It's like, oh, that's so funny. What's next? And then it's something like this. You seen these blue pill, red pills? So if you can't read that, blue pill says get actual help and therapy. And if you choose the red pill, it is what it is. And men, we're going for the red. That's true. It's not healthy, okay? And then you're like, that's cool, what's next? And then it's like something like this. This is chicken nuggets, and it said, do y'all peel your nuggets? Do y'all peel your nuggets? And the quote's cut off here, but it says, you need to be in a mental institution, right? And I probably would do something like that. But it's just like, there's cat videos and like all kinds of stuff, right? And we just scroll. It's so easy. I'm not beating us up. It's just easy to be distracted by all this. Right? It's the path of least resistance with technology. You know, we want that dopamine hit. We want something easy instead of something more difficult. We want easy over good, okay? And we all know that's true, but just so if we need proof, anybody want a Snickers bar? Seriously, who wants a Snickers bar? You, dude? All right. Please don't sue us if they hit you in the face. Anybody else want a Snickers bar? Yeah, nice. Did you catch that? That's awesome. I got one more. Anybody want a Snickers bar? Okay, right there, coming at you. Anybody want a head of broccoli? No, you don't. You don't want the head of broccoli. You're a liar. Nobody wants. Who's gonna eat it? You're gonna eat it? Here you go, man. Enjoy. But nobody except that guy. Nobody wants the head of broccoli. Even though that's better for us, even though that's good for us, that we want the Snickers bar because it tastes good and it's easy and our blood sugar goes up and we feel good. But nobody wants to chew and eat something that tastes like crap, right? Like we know that easier is better, tastes better a lot of times, right? So with our phones, like how much do we touch our phone and swipe? And what's our screen time like? Probably high. Netflix even asks us, are you still watching? The translation is like, it's been 3 hours. Like, is everything good out there? Do you need to go to work? Do you need to take a shower? Do you need to take care of the children? Like, are you still watching? You good? And we were like, yeah, let's go. That's technology, right? We got to figure out what we got to do about that. And the last reason, again, many reasons, but the one we'll talk about is worldviews. And this just means like ideas like faster is better, and faster is more successful, and more earnings give you more happiness, and more possessions give you more happiness. Like succeed and perform and measure up at all costs, no matter what the cost. Especially if people around you are doing X, Y, or Z, and you feel like you've got to live up to their expectations. Like, I got to put my kids in 10 different activities at once because everybody else is doing it. Like, is that the best way? Is that the best way? So back to this question, what are you distracted from that you could be devoted to? And I'll say this for me and for you. If we ignore this question, or if we ask the question and ignore the answer, we ignore the thing in life that matters most. It's going to cost me and it's going to cost you. Even if we don't feel that now, it's going to cost us in the long run. And I'd say it already has cost us. There was a study done in 2010. A couple of Harvard psychologists did this study, and they found that people spend 47%
We spend 47% of our waking hours thinking about something other than what we're currently doing. How did they figure this out? I have no idea, but 47% of our waking hours are spent thinking or doing something outside of where we're at right now. Here's what they concluded. They said the ability to think about what is not happening is a cognitive achievement. So they were like, that's pretty amazing. Like, humans are amazing. You know, we can be in a place and have our minds thinking about something else. That's a pretty cool achievement for humans. But that comes at an emotional cost. It comes at an emotional cost. And that was 13 years ago when that study was done, right? So it's got to be worse now. You know, half of our waking hours, we're not present in what we're doing. We're just going from thing to thing to thing. And it's not even a faith thing. If you're here and you're not a faith person, we're glad you're here. But it's not even a faith thing. It's, you know, science says we are happier and that we have more peace and more rest when we're present and when we're mindful in the moment. But it's going to cost us relationally, and it's going to cost us spiritually. Okay? And this is true for me, and this is true for you, that a distracted life leads to disordered priorities. Our priorities get all jacked up. A distracted life keeps us from the beauty of the present, and a distracted life limits our capacity for love, joy, and peace. You know, we run from the urgent to the urgent instead of what's important. Relationships, we're given half. Our faith, you know, maybe an hour at best if we show up at church, like who knows. But what are we distracted from that we could be devoted to? What's the way forward? And there is a way forward, right? That's the good news. And Jesus gave us some insight. There's this story that is found in the book of Luke in the Bible. And if you've never read scriptures, you didn't grow up in church, you never heard this before, you'll think I'm making this up, but this is not. This is in the book of Luke, and it's so applicable to us right now. Luke wrote this about Jesus. He said, as Jesus and his disciples were on their way, he came to a village where a woman named Martha opened her home to him. So Jesus was going to be a guest in Martha's home, and Martha's sister Mary was there as well. Next slide, please. She had a sister called Mary who sat at the Lord's feet, the Lord being Jesus, sat at the Lord's feet listening to what he said. But Martha was distracted by all the preparations that had to be made. And we see two contrasting pictures here, right? There's Mary, who's sitting at Jesus' feet, who's listening, soaking it up, engaged, kind of a posture of the student type of thing. Full attention is on Jesus. And then there's Martha. Martha's in the kitchen. She's doing some really good stuff. She's doing important things, prepping the meal, right? But Luke uses a Greek word. And the Greek word he uses is the word that we call distraction, that Martha was distracted. And it's actually the only time in the New Testament that this particular word is used. And it just means it describes a person who's inside frustrated and stressed and agitated, but outside, they're trying to keep it all together, but it's not really working, right? That shows on the outside. This is real for me. Like, I get this picture of Mary and Martha, in part because of my grandma. So my grandma's with Jesus now. She went home to him a few years ago, but she was the most hospitable and loving and servant-minded person that I ever knew. And I was reminded of her yesterday. We had my extended family to our house for Thanksgiving. It was awesome. We got to be together. But it reminded me of Thanksgivings and Christmases where my grandma would just be like a wild woman in the kitchen, right? I mean, up at probably 3 a.m. to put the turkey in, you know, prepping meals all morning, getting the best dishes out, work. And then we finally, you know, sit down for lunch. And it's like, okay, grandma's going to join us. But no, grandma's up and she's walking around asking people, do you need more of this? Do you need more of that? Do you need more of this? More of that? And it's like, okay, you know, it's good. And then after the meal, then she's washing dishes, wash, lots of dishes, like all afternoon. And it's been like 16 hours and this woman hadn't sat down yet, right? Like it's a really good thing. And she is so loving, so hospitable. But it's like, are you ever going to sit down? And there's a funny story. My dad, before my parents were married, he was dating my mom, and they were at my grandma's house for dinner. And he actually said to her, and my dad's more soft-spoken, he said, Shirley was her name, Shirley, sit down. Woo! You don't tell Shirley to sit down. You do not tell her to sit down. That was the last time anybody ever tried to tell grandma to sit down, right? But it's all a good thing. Even I find myself doing this. Like we'll have people over and I'll grill. I'll be grilling like 60 hamburgers and just flipping burgers, and there's grease flying everywhere, and I'm like, Wes, my son, give me a cup of water, like the grill's on fire, and there's animals and all kinds of stuff flying, and people are coming in, and I can't even talk to them because I'm just trying to manage the grill. And then when I'm done, I'm so exhausted that it's like I need a nap from that, or a beer or something. I don't know, one of the two. But I get to be like Martha as well. But back to the story, Martha is real agitated, frustrated, right? And Mary has peace. She's enjoying Jesus' company. But Martha's like, Mary, come on, like, I'm in the kitchen slaving away. This meal's not gonna cook itself, you know? And so Martha's probably clanging pots and pans in the kitchen just to make a point, you know, real loud. And then she does what maybe a lot of us do, kids do. And she decided to tell on Mary. So I'm gonna tell Jesus on Mary. So she really does. She said, she came to him and asked, Lord, don't you care? Don't you care that my sister has left me to do the work by myself? Tell her to help me. You know, the pitas are burned. You know, the falafel's messed up, whatever they would have eaten back then. I need help, right? And Jesus says this. He says, Martha, Martha. He says her name twice. It shows compassion. And Jesus, the Lord answered, you are worried and upset about many things, but few things are needed, or indeed, only one. You know, it was like, Jesus was like, Martha, you're making 10-course meal. Like we only needed 5, you know? You got the best dishes, just get paper plates. Like it's fine. Or just one meal, or just, you know what? Order some pizzas and call it a day. I mean, parents, we gotta just order a pizza and call it a day sometimes, right? But I love what Jesus says next. He says this. He says, Mary has chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Mary's chosen what is better, and it will not be taken away from her. Mary was present. Martha was distracted. Mary found love and joy and peace that can only come from Jesus, from being with Jesus at his feet, listening to him. And Martha was stressed and frustrated. And I like what Jesus said to Martha. He didn't say, you're wrong, Martha. Like you were wrong to be in the kitchen, because she was doing a good thing, a thing that was expected, from a hospitality standpoint. But it was a comparison, right? Jesus said, Mary chose better. Martha, you chose good. Mary chose better, you know? Some things are good and there are better things, right? Chips and salsa, good thing. Chips and queso, especially with chorizo in it, a better thing, right? There's good things and there's better things. And distractions, these things we're distracted with, there's not always bad things, they're good things, but they distract us from what's better and what matters most. And I love this phrase. It's called the distraction dilemma. And it's just this, even a good thing can distract you from a better thing, right? Work is not bad. Gotta go to work, gotta do your job. Technology is not bad, it's so good. Technology is so good to keep us connected and keep us productive and all that stuff. Being busy is good, especially if we're caring for other people, you know? It's like if we had kids and we're not busy at home, you know, kids went a week without eating and they're like, Dad, I'm starving. Like, well, Dad's not gonna be busy. I'm not gonna be busy, right? That's not a good thing. But I can speak for me, it's probably the same for you. My capacity to love and to have joy and peace in my life goes down the tubes when I'm distracted, when I'm busy. You know, I'm stressed, I'm exhausted, I'm short with other people. And then for my faith, like I can go a long time without even thinking about God. As Jesus followers, I'd say the most spiritual thing we can do for me and for you is to audit where our attention goes, because attention reveals what we're distracted by, and distractions show what we're devoted to. And I'll tell you this, love, joy, and peace is possible. It comes from Jesus. But we gotta do something about it. We gotta change. So last week, if you were here, Matt referenced this book called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry by John Mark Comer. And this book has been I read it about 3 years ago for the first time, the most impactful book in my life outside of the Bible and maybe Goodnight Moon. Just being honest. But I read it, and I would really encourage you guys to read it. If you're a reader and this is a really, really good book. My dial moved in terms of being a person of love, joy, and peace, okay? I am far from getting it right. I'm just gonna tell you that, okay? But I have more love, have more joy, have more peace in my life. My dial has moved. And for me, one of the things I chose to do to try to be more present, and this is just my own thing. I'm not telling you to do this if you are a runner, but I love to run. I've always run, and I always ran with headphones in. So I'd listen to music because I love music, and I also wanted it as a distraction, right? Again, this is just something I chose. I'm not telling you to do this. But after reading this book, just actually in the last year and a half, I decided I want to help train myself to be present, be okay just like with my own mind and in my own body and space. And so I stopped running with headphones. And it's been really good. I still run with them from time to time, but it's been really good. And Saturday morning, can't make this up. So I know I'm giving this message about distraction, right? And I'm going to talk about this. And I went for a run at the reservoir. It was a beautiful morning, sunshine and all that. And on the back side of the reservoir, like the east side, there's a tree line along the path there. There's a big tree line. And I was running up on top, and I heard this caw, caw. And my first thought was, the Birds, the movie. I was like, they've invaded Van Wert. Like, it's over, they're coming for me, they're gonna pick my eyeballs out. Thankfully, that didn't happen. So I look up at literally the tallest tree in that whole tree line, and the leaves are gone, and so you can really see through. And there are 2 bald eagles sitting on the top of the tree. Like, you can't make this up. It was beautiful, and the sun was shining in the background. There were these 2 bald eagles. I didn't even know what sound bald eagles made, but it made that sound because I looked up there, and there it was. I wanted to stop and be like, I'm proud to be an American, you know? Like, oh, it's gave me chills. But if I would have been running with my headphones on, I would have missed it. I would have missed it. I would have been doing something good, which is running and listening to some good music probably, but I would have missed something better, which was seeing 2 bald eagles in Van Wert, Ohio. Like, right? Come on. Awesome. I was able to do that because I was present in the moment. And love, joy, and peace lead us to people and to God and to beauty in the present moment. And so back to our reasons for distraction. We said pace of life, technology, and worldviews are several of those. And I've told you some ways where I'm getting it wrong, okay? Because I am getting it wrong. I'm not getting it all right. But I wanted to just take each of those and just humbly submit something that I'm working on in my life where I've seen the dial move, and maybe this would apply to you as well. So for pace of life, this is something that I've been working on, is saying no. It's okay to say no. Let's all say no together. Ready? No. One more time. No. Okay, that's scary. That freaked me out a little. I've been trying to say no to some things, make some hard decisions. My wife and I, we've recently made some hard decisions about the activities we're putting our kids in. Hard decisions. There's tons of good things, but we've got to say no to some things. And I'll say this, saying no is a good thing, but you got to do it responsibly, right? All right, you got to be responsible about it because our no affects other people. And if we make a commitment, we should keep that commitment. There's no doubt, right? So we have to be responsible about it. But it can be good to say no to some good things for something that's better. And we've experienced the better a little bit with some of these decisions, a little more margin for us, a little more time together as a family. And that's a better thing than maybe some of the good things that we're not doing. For technology, phone off. So you can turn your phone off. There's a power button. It turns off, and then it's off. And it's okay, I promise. If you miss a notification, like, it's probably going to be okay, unless it's your mom calling. Then that's not on me, okay? But to get a notification that so and so liked your picture, or so and so, or this, whatever. Like, it's okay to not have those things. And for me, here's what I've done. Because again, and I don't get this right, okay? I'm not an authority on this, but I have protected times where I try to turn my phone off. And for me, that's dinner. We try to eat dinner as a family most nights. And so I will turn my phone off and put it in a drawer, literally. And at night, I also do the same thing. I'll turn it off and put it away, put it to sleep. And that helps me a little bit. I'm not always good at that, but when I do, it helps me move the dial a little bit. I want to speak to the young people in the room, such as myself, who is still in my 30s. That's still young. I'm 39. I'm going to turn 40 in a month. Level 4 almost completed, all right? Because I know, with technology, it's like, oh man, the young people, they're real bad at it. And we are, right? If you're in your 30s or 20s, your teens, like this is a thing for us, so we got to wrestle to the ground. How do we handle technology? But if you are in your 40s or 50s or 60s, like, listen, we see you on your iPads. We see you. I don't think we don't see you on your iPads, right? It's a thing for all of us. And it's easy to say, oh, it's young people. And it is. But it's all of us in this together because we've all got this technology. We got to wrestle this to the ground, okay? Lastly, worldviews. Be content. I try to be content with where I'm at. This idea that faster's not always better. More is not always better. Success and perform and go is not always better, okay? And if this is all a little specific, let me zoom out for us. And I want to leave you guys here with 3 questions that you can ponder, because we all want to get rid of distractions. We all want to eliminate those in our life. So I'm going to give you 3 questions to walk out of here with. And listen, I know what it's like to hear a message and walk out, and sometimes it's like 5 minutes later, it's like you forget what happened, okay? So even if there's one question here, pick one, and I would encourage you to think about this for yourself and have conversations about this. So to eliminate distractions, first kind of broad question is this: how do you start your day? And this is very broad because this is going to look different for all of us. If we start our days on our phones or in our inbox, before we can even open our eyes, which I do sometimes, it kind of sets the tone for the rest of the day. Right? My wife likes to walk. She walks almost every morning now. I like to get outside and I need a little bit of time in the morning, a little space just to breathe, and I'll do some meditation, and I'll just try to be in the quiet, journal, and connect with God. Again, I don't get this right all the time, but it's something that I do to help my morning start the right way. And there's a song that I grew up with. It's a song called Be Thou My Vision, all right? So it's an old hymn, and it's got some old English language. It's actually an Irish tune. But this song has always meant something to me. It's always been kind of near and dear to my heart. And it's sometimes how I start my day, just thinking about this song. I'll sing it at night, my kids. It goes like this. Be thou my vision, O Lord of my heart, not be all else to me, save that thou art. Thou my best thought, by day or by night, waking or sleeping, thy presence my light. And I love the line in there, thou my best thought, by day or by night. To start my day, to end my day, the best thing I can think about, to get my mind right, in the right place, is about Jesus. Because God is in the present moment. God is not in the tomorrow, and he's not in the yesterday. He is, but he's right here, right now, right in the present moment. And things like that can help bring me back to where my mind needs to be, in the present. And so, again, how do you start your day? Next question is this: what can only you do? What can only you do? What's something you can only do? Just be honest. I'm not irreplaceable here at my job. You're probably not irreplaceable in your jobs. You're probably not irreplaceable in the committees you're a part of, right? People fill our spots eventually. But where we're not irreplaceable is in our relationships, right? Only you can be a dad. Only you can be a mom. Only you can be a husband or a wife or a son or a daughter. Those are the things that only we can do. And so I want to encourage myself and you guys, take that seriously. Plan date nights with your spouse. Plan times with your kids. Give them your undivided attention. Talking to myself, put your dang phone away and just be with your kids. When we do that, I found this, we get to be people of more love, more joy, and more peace. Okay, last question. Where can you choose better? And be honest with yourself. Ask yourself, Where can I choose better? And maybe a better question is, who needs you? Who in your life needs you to choose better, right? And this is personal for me. I've asked this question and need to continue to ask it. But I've made some changes in my life. I got on some medication that helps me to be a healthier version of myself physically and mentally. That's been a really good thing. Didn't want to do it. I did it. It was good. I stopped doing some things, some commitments I had that were all really good things, but it just took up so much time, right? And I wanted to choose a better way forward. So I did that, and it's been a good thing. Again, saying no we got to be responsible about that. But when we have more time, we can be more present and more loving to the people in our lives. So again, these 3 questions, pick one, think about on your way home. How do you start your day? What can only you do? Where can you choose better? And then let's wrap this up, going back to the question we asked to start. What are you distracted from that you could be devoted to? Cost is too high to not answer this, guys. We got to wrestle this to the ground. We got to do something because our relationships will be better for it. We will thrive more and survive less. We'll have more love, joy, and peace. We got to be honest. We got to be real about that and have courage to make a change. You're gonna be glad you did, for yourself, for your family, for other people, for your faith, for what your Heavenly Father thinks about you. He loves us and He wants us to be in the present moment with Him. Let me pray for you guys. Dear Jesus, thank you for who you are and for what you have done for us. Thank you for being a God who's in the moment, who is with us right now. Help us to find the distractions, find the ways that we are forgetting about you and taking ourselves out of the present. Help us to love you and experience your love in the present moment and be people of love to those in our lives. Thank you, Jesus, for what you've done for us. In your name we pray. Amen. Thank you guys for being here today. We will see you next week for part 3 of Bend, Don't Break.